I sit on the heated floor of the luxury ski chalet we rented in Lake Tahoe, watching the blizzard rage against the floor-to-ceiling windows. Inside, the fire is roaring, but I feel nothing but cold. My sister Jessica is shrieking, twirling a set of heavy matte black keys around her manicured finger. A Mercedes G-Wagon. $150,000 of German engineering sitting in the driveway, topped with a red velvet bow. My father, Jeffrey, is filming her reaction. His face split into a grin of pure worship. Then my mother, Angela, hands me my gift. It is light. Rattles. Pink plastic piggy bank. Turn it over. The thrift store sticker is still on the bottom. 50 cents. Pull the rubber stopper. 2 crisp $1 bills flutter onto the expensive rug. In that moment the math was simple. To them she was a luxury asset. And I was worth exactly $2. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. I'd love to know who's part of our community. I excuse myself, my voice flat, mechanical. I walk past the Christmas tree, past the explosion of wrapping paper, and lock myself in the downstairs guest bathroom. The silence here is heavy, pressed down by the weight of the blizzard outside. I lean against the cold marble counter and stare at my reflection. It is a strange thing to look into your own eyes and see two different people. 72 hours ago, I was deep inside a thoracic cavity, holding a stranger's beating heart in my gloved hands. I was commanding a team of 12, making decisions that determined whether a father went home to his children or went to the morgue. I am a trauma surgeon. I repair what is broken. I bring order to chaos. People call me doctor, with a reverence that borders on prayer. But in this house, under this roof, I am not a surgeon. I am the help. I am the background noise. I look at the piggy bank still clutched in my hand. $2. It wasn't a gift. It was an appraisal. I close my eyes and let the spreadsheet in my mind unfurl. I have a mind for numbers. Blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and bank balances. I start calculating. The mortgage payments I quietly covered 3 years ago when Jeffrey's sure-thing investment collapsed. The tuition for Jessica's 3 failed attempts at an art degree. The credit card bills Angela forgot to pay. The family vacations I funded but wasn't invited to because I was too busy working. I do the math. Over the last 5 years, I have poured over $200,000 into this family. $200,000 of blood money, earned on 30-hour shifts and sleepless nights. And in return, I watched my sister get a car worth more than my medical school debt, while I got 50 cents worth of plastic and a joke. You might wonder why I stayed. Why a woman who can crack a chest open and stitch a human being back together would crumble in the face of her parents. It is the invisible chain of the survivor. It is a psychological conditioning that starts before you can even speak. When you train an elephant, you tie it to a stake when it is a baby. It pulls and pulls, but it isn't strong enough to break the chain. Eventually it stops fighting. It learns that it is powerless. Years pass. The elephant grows into a creature of immense strength, capable of ripping the stake from the ground with a single tug. But it never tries. Because in its mind, the chain is still stronger than it is. In its mind, it is still small. That was me. In the operating room, I was powerful. But the moment I stepped across the threshold of my parents' home, the invisible chain snapped around my ankle. I reverted to the child who just wanted to be good enough. The child who thought that if I just paid one more bill, if I just solved one more crisis, if I was just useful enough, they would finally look at me the way they looked at Jessica. But looking at the G-Wagon in the driveway, the truth hit me with the precision of a scalpel. They didn't love me. They didn't even like me. They loved my utility. I was the generator they kept in the basement. Noisy, unseen, unappreciated, but essential to keep the lights on for the star of the show. I splash cold water on my face. I dry my hands on a towel embroidered with a monogram that isn't mine. The sadness evaporates, replaced by a cold, clinical clarity. The elephant just realized how big it is. And the chain is about to break. I unlock the bathroom door and step back into the living room. The air in the chalet has changed. The festive chaos has settled into a strategic formation. Jeffrey is sitting in the oversized leather armchair, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. Angela is next to him, hands clasped. Jessica is on the sofa, scrolling on her phone, looking bored but expectant. It is an ambush. Zelda, have a seat, Jeffrey says. It isn't a request. I remain standing. My spine is a steel rod. I prefer to stand. He sighs, the sound of a manager dealing with a difficult employee. We need to talk about the car situation. The G-Wagon is a significant investment. It is a showpiece, really. We can't have Jessica driving it up and down the mountain in this weather. The salt, the grit, the risk of a slide. It would depreciate the asset immediately. Wait. I know the diagnosis before he says the words. So, Jeffrey continues, smooth as oil. We have decided it is best if you let Jessica take the Audi back to the city. It is all-wheel drive, it is safe, and it fits her brand. You can take the sedan. It is parked round back. A sedan. A 12-year-old vehicle with a heater that smells like burning hair and tires that are bald as an egg. They aren't asking to borrow my car. They are reallocating family resources. To them, my Audi Q8, the car I bought with my own signing bonus, the car that gets me to the hospital in ice storms when the city is shut down, is just another asset in the family pool. And I am the liquidity provider. I don't say anything. I just look at him. Don't look at me like that, Angela snaps, her voice shrill. It is just a car, Zelda. You are always working anyway. You don't need an image car. Jessica's career depends on appearances. We are just asking you to be a team player for once. Team player. That is the phrase they use when they want me to bleed for them. I am leaving, I say. The words are quiet, simple. You can't leave, Jeffrey says, standing up. We haven't even had dinner. And hand over the keys. Don't be dramatic. I turn around and walk up the stairs. I don't run. I don't slam the door. I enter the guest room I have been assigned, the smallest one naturally with the drafty window, and I sit on the edge of the bed. Check my watch. It is 4 in the afternoon. The blizzard is still howling, but the forecast says it will break by 3 in the morning. Wait. I lay in the dark, listening to the sounds of the house. I hear them laughing downstairs. I hear corks popping. I hear the clinking of silverware on the china I paid for last year. They aren't worried about me. They assume I am sulking. They assume that tomorrow morning I will come downstairs, apologize for being difficult, and hand over the keys. Because that is what the elephant always does. But the elephant is gone. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the house is silent. Get up. I don't pack everything. I only take what is essential. My laptop. My medical bag. My passport. I leave the expensive sweaters I bought to fit in. I leave the gifts they gave me in previous years. I leave the weight of their expectations on the floor. Creep downstairs. The living room is bathed in the blue light of the dying fire. The G-Wagon keys are sitting on the marble kitchen island, heavy and matte black, a symbol of everything they value. I reach into my pocket. I pull out the plastic piggy bank. I place it directly next to the Mercedes keys. The contrast is violent. The luxury weight of the German engineering next to 50 cents of hollow pink plastic. It is my resignation letter. I put on my coat and boots. Open the front door. The wind bites my face, cold and sharp and clean. The snow has stopped, leaving a world that is white and silent and new. I walk to my Audi. I unlock it. Get in. The engine starts with a low, powerful hum. I don't look back at the chalet. I don't look at the window where my parents are sleeping, dreaming of their new status symbol. I shift into gear and drive down the mountain, leaving tire tracks in the fresh snow that will be covered by the wind before sunrise. The silence of the drive lasts exactly 40 minutes. That is how long it takes for the reception to return as I wind down the mountain pass toward the highway. Then my phone on the passenger seat lights up. Doesn't stop. It vibrates against the leather like a dying thing in convulsions. I glance at the screen. 42 missed calls. 63 text messages. The notifications stack up so fast I can't read them. It is a digital hemorrhage. I don't answer. I just listen to the engine and the tires cutting through the slush. But then a voicemail notification pops up. It is from Jeffrey. The transcription preview reads, "Report it stolen." Immediately, I pull onto the shoulder of the highway. Hazard lights blinking against the gray dawn. My hands are shaking, not from cold, but from adrenaline. Press play. Jeffrey's voice fills the cabin, distorted by rage and bad signal. "Zelda, you turn that car around right now. You do not walk out on this family. If you are not back here in 1 hour, I am calling the police. I will report the Audi stolen. You think because you bought it, it is yours. Everything you have is ours. We made you. We own you. Bring the car back, or you are going to jail." The message ends. The silence rushes back in, heavier than before. I sit there, staring at the pine trees coated in ice. Most people would hear a father. I hear a diagnosis. This is the illusion of power of the empty wallet. It is a specific psychological pathology found in people who have hollowed themselves out. My parents have no intrinsic value, no career success, no savings, no emotional depth. They are empty vessels. To survive, they have constructed a facade of power using my substance. They wear my success like a coat. They drive my cars to look rich. They spend my money to feel generous. But because their power is borrowed, it is fragile. It exists only as long as I consent to it. When I walked out that door, I didn't just leave a room. I shattered their reality. I took the substance away. And when you strip a narcissist of their supply, they don't feel sadness. They feel an existential panic that looks exactly like rage. Jeffrey isn't angry because he misses his daughter. He is terrified because the host organism has detached itself from the parasite. Without me, they are just two aging people in a rented house they can't afford, staring at a luxury car they can't drive, with a bank account that is about to hit zero. He claims he will report the car stolen. Legally, it is absurd. My name is on the title. Paid cash. But in his mind, the logic holds. In his mind, I am an asset he created. Therefore, my labor, my money, and my property belong to the corporation of the family. Me leaving with the Audi is, to him, employee theft. He is willing to criminalize me to get his property back. He is willing to put the woman who pays his mortgage in handcuffs just to prove he is still the CEO. I look at the phone. A new text from my mother. Jessica is having a panic attack. How can you be so selfish? Dad is on the phone with the sheriff. Don't test him. They aren't bluffing. They are desperate. And desperate people are dangerous. Put the car in gear. I don't turn back toward the mountain. I merge onto the highway, heading south toward the city. But I know I can't just drive away anymore. This isn't a family dispute. It is a legal threat. If he calls the police, I need to be ready. I reach for my laptop bag. I need to make a stop. I need to see exactly what else they think they own. I drive straight to the financial district. I don't go home. I don't go to a friend's house to cry. When a patient is hemorrhaging, you don't offer them tea. You find the source of the bleed and you clamp it. I park the Audi in the underground garage of a glass tower that scrapes the gray sky. I have an appointment with a forensic accountant named Marcus. I have worked with him before on hospital audits. He is expensive, humorless, and precise. Exactly what I need. I walk into his office, shaking the snow from my coat. I place my laptop and my identification on his mahogany desk. Find everything, I say. Every account, every credit line, every liability linked to my social security number. I want a full autopsy of my financial life. Marcus doesn't ask why. He sees the look in my eyes, the same look I have when I call time of death. He starts typing. For 2 hours, the only sound in the room is the hum of the hard drive and the clicking of keys. I drink black coffee and stare at the skyline. My phone is still buzzing in my bag, a muffled heartbeat of threats from Jeffrey and Angela, but I don't look at it. I am done listening to the noise. I am looking for the signal. Then the typing stops. Zelda, Marcus says. His voice is different. He isn't looking at the screen anymore. He is looking at me. Turn around. Did you purchase a vehicle this week? Yes. I shake my head. Well, I bought the Audi 3 years ago. Paid in full. He slides a piece of paper across the desk. It is a credit inquiry report. There is a new lease agreement opened 48 hours ago, he says. For a Mercedes G-550. The total liability is $150,000. The room seems to tilt. The G-Wagon. The car with the red bow. The car, Jeffrey said, was a significant investment. Pick up the paper. My hands are steady now. I read the details. The lease isn't in Jeffrey's name. It isn't in Angela's name. It certainly isn't in Jessica's name. Her credit score is lower than her age. The primary lessee is Dr. Zelda Collins. I look at the signature at the bottom of the digital document. It loops and curves, mimicking my handwriting perfectly. But 48 hours ago, I was in a double bypass surgery. I was scrubbed in. I couldn't have signed this. They didn't just buy her a car, I whisper. They stole my identity to do it. Creates a perfect picture. The gift they were so proud of, the symbol of their wealth and generosity, was a fraud. They used my perfect credit rating and my income to lease a luxury toy for the golden child, intending to let me pay the premiums quietly, or perhaps hoping I wouldn't notice until it was too late. They handed me a piggy bank with $2 in it while simultaneously strapping a 6-figure debt to my back. This is why Jeffrey was so terrified when I left. This is why he threatened to call the police on me. It wasn't about the Audi. He was projecting. He knew that if I walked away, if I looked too closely at the books, I would find the crime. Marcus looks at me. This is felony identity theft, Zelda. Bank fraud. If you report this, they will go to prison. I look at the document. I think about the years of insults. The team player speeches. The way they looked at me when they handed me that plastic pig. They thought I was weak. They thought I was a resource to be mined until the vein ran dry. But they forgot one thing. If the lease is in my name, I say, staring at the signature, then legally that is my car. Marcus nods slowly. Technically, yes. You are the registered owner. You hold the liability, but you also hold the rights. A cold smile touches my lips. Feels sharp. Jeffrey threatened to report my car stolen. He threatened to use the law to drag me back under his control. He wanted to play a game of ownership. Pull out my phone. I don't call my parents. I call a number I found on a billboard once. A service that specializes in asset recovery. I don't want to report the fraud yet, Marcus. Not yet. He tilts his head. What are you going to do? I stand up. I button my coat. I'm going to pick up my property. I treat the situation like a complex trauma case. Step 1. Assess the damage. Step 2. Stabilize the patient. Step 3. Extract the foreign object. The G-Wagon is the foreign object. I sit in the lobby of Marcus's building and make a call to a private asset recovery firm. They usually handle repossessions for high-end dealerships, but for a rush fee, a very large rush fee, they accept private contracts if the documentation is ironclad. And thanks to the fraud my parents committed, the documentation is perfect. I email them the lease agreement with my name on it. I send them a copy of my driver's license. I authorize the immediate retrieval of my property from the rental address in Lake Tahoe. Then I call the sheriff's department in Placer County. I don't report a theft yet. I simply inform them that a repossession team is en route to recover a vehicle registered in my name, and that the occupants of the house might become volatile. I want a civil standby. Then I wait. I drink a bottle of water. I check my emails. I don't feel nervous. I feel the cold, rhythmic calm of the operating room. This isn't revenge. It is a correction. It is resetting a dislocated bone. It hurts, but it is necessary for survival. 3 hours later, my phone rings. It isn't my parents. It is the sheriff's deputy. Dr. Collins, he asks. We are at the residence. The recovery team has the vehicle secured, but we have a situation. The gentleman inside, a Mr. Jeffrey Collins, is insisting that the vehicle was stolen. He is extremely agitated. He claims you stole the keys and fled the scene. Put him on, I say. There is a rustling sound, and then Jeffrey's voice explodes into my ear. It is an animalistic sound, a mix of panic and fury that makes the speaker crackle. Zelda, what have you done? There are tow trucks in the driveway. They are taking the Mercedes. Tell this officer right now that that is my car. Tell him you are playing some sick joke. I can't do that, Jeffrey, I say. My voice is steady, low. Because it isn't your car. I bought it, he screams. I signed the papers. No, I say. You didn't. You forged my signature. You used my social security number. You opened a lease in my name without my consent. That vehicle is legally mine. And I am choosing to repossess it. The silence on the other end is absolute. It is the sound of a lung collapsing. The air rushing out of the room. You wouldn't, he stammers. His voice dropping to a terrified whisper. Zelda, that is fraud. If you say that, you are accusing us of a felony. I know, I say. Marcus, the forensic accountant I hired this morning, says it carries a sentence of up to 5 years. I haven't filed the police report yet, Dad. I'm just taking back my property. But if you try to stop that tow truck, if you try to claim ownership of that car one more time, I will email the lease agreement to the deputy standing next to you, and he will arrest you for identity theft on the spot. I hear him breathing. Short, jagged gasp. He looks at the deputy. He looks at the G-Wagon, the symbol of his status, being hooked up to the winch. He realizes the trap he built for himself. He can't claim the car without admitting the crime. How are we supposed to get home? Angela's voice bleeds into the background, shrill and panicked. Zelda, the Audi is gone. You took the G-Wagon. We are stranded. It is freezing. You have the sedan, I say. The sedan doesn't start, she shrieks. The tires are bald. We can't drive that down the mountain in the snow. Then I guess you had better call Jessica, I say. She is the influencer. Maybe she can get you a sponsorship for a ride share. Zelda, please, Jeffrey begs, the power completely gone, replaced by the pathetic wheedling of the empty wallet. The rental checkout is at 11 in the morning. We have no way to leave. We have no money for a taxi that far. You can't leave us here. I am not leaving you there, Jeffrey. You are an adult. You made a financial decision to lease a car you couldn't afford in a name that wasn't yours. Now the bank is calling the loan. We are your family, he cries. No, I say. I was your bank. And the account is closed. Hang up. I don't block the number this time. I want to see the notifications. I want to see the reality set in. 10 minutes later, the asset recovery agent texts me a photo. It is the G-Wagon loaded onto the flatbed, the red bow crushed against the cab of the truck. In the background, 3 small figures stand on the porch of the chalet, wrapped in coats, watching their status symbol drive away. They look very small against the white of the mountain. I forward the photo to Marcus. Asset secured, I type. Now let's file the charges. The fallout was surgical. I didn't drop the charges. To do so would have been to accept the liability as my own, to let the cancer remain. The district attorney took the case. Jeffrey and Angela pled guilty to fraud to avoid prison time, but the restitution, legal fees, and civil judgments wiped them out. They filed for bankruptcy 3 months later. The empire of smoke and mirrors evaporated. Jessica faced her own reckoning. Without the family bank to fund the lifestyle she curated for the internet, her influencer facade crumbled. She couldn't fake the wealth anymore. I heard from a mutual friend she is working front desk at a gym now. It is honest work. Maybe it will build the character she never had the chance to develop. I sold the G-Wagon. It fetched enough to cover the lease termination penalties and clear the remainder of my own medical school loans. The day I saw that zero balance on my student loan account was the first time I felt truly rich. 1 year later, I stand in the living room of my new home. It isn't a rental. Bought it. It is a mid-century modern tucked into the hills, quiet and full of light. The Christmas tree is decorated with simple white lights and glass ornaments I chose myself. There is no noise here. No walking on eggshells. No waiting for the insult. On the mantel, in the place of honor, sits the pink plastic piggy bank. Most people would have thrown it away. It is cheap. It is ugly. It represents the most humiliating moment of my life. But I kept it. I kept it because it is the most valuable thing they ever gave me. It was the catalyst. It was the moment the illusion broke and I finally saw the truth. I reach into my pocket and pull out a single bill. It isn't $1. It is a $100 bill. Money I earned. Money I saved. Money that belongs to me. I fold it carefully and slide it through the slot. It lands with a soft thud against the plastic. There is a profound peace in realizing that you are not required to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. We are taught that family is everything, that blood is a binding contract that can never be broken. But that is a lie designed to keep victims in their place. Sometimes you have to let go of the people who share your DNA to find the person you were meant to be. You have to amputate the limb to save the body. It is painful. It leaves a scar. But the scar is proof that you survived. Proof that you chose yourself when no one else would. I look at the piggy bank one last time. It isn't empty anymore. And neither am I. If you have ever had to walk away to save yourself, share your story below. You are not alone.